Hi, Honey Family. Welcome back. I've got a good assortment of stories for you this week. Hopefully, as always. One of the stories is a bit different, and I hope you like it. If you do, leave me a comment and let me know. As always, hit that subscribe button and give me a thumbs up. I really do appreciate it. Now sit back and enjoy the show. Story 1. The Scribbles. I was living in a house in Laguna Beach. The house had been built sometime in the 1920s. In its history, it had been a speakeasy, a brothel, and various other less than legal activities. One day, my new wife and I were having an argument. I can't even recall what it was about. She walked down the block to grab herself a cup of coffee and cool off. I was in the house alone. The way this place was built was in a really haphazard fashion. There was a bedroom and a living room on one side, then a bathroom with two entrances on the other. On the other side of the bathroom was a hallway that had two windows and two bedrooms on the other side. My bedroom allowed me to look across the hallway into the bathroom, then through the bathroom down the other hall. I was standing at my dresser and I just noticed movement out of the corner of my eye, and I looked down there. There was a black figure. It was maybe 3 feet tall and was only vaguely humanoid. It looked like black scribbles, like someone had scribbled a vaguely human shape, but the scribbles were moving, like electricity arcing. That's the best way to describe it. There was no sound that I could remember. I distinctly remember when I saw it, I wasn't afraid. I was just like, what? Then it noticed me looking at it. I can't say that it turned around. It just focused on me, I guess. Then I was scared. I didn't move. I didn't scream. Nothing. I was just frozen. And then it came at me. It rushed me from down the hall. I have no idea what it intended to do, but as soon as it entered the bathroom, the door closest to me slammed shut on it. And then I screamed. I yelled for my wife, but of course she wasn't home. I bolted for the door and ran outside into the daylight, and I didn't go back until my wife got home, about 10 minutes later. I don't believe in ghosts. I don't believe that what I saw was supernatural. I don't know what I saw, but I know I saw something. Story 2. Lights in the Arctic. I grew up in the Arctic. In the town I lived in, as long as the night was clear, it was an extremely normal occurrence to see all kinds of strange lights moving across the sky. Keep in mind, the winter is long in the Arctic, which means longer amounts of time being spent under the stars. It's quite beautiful, as long as you don't mind the cold. Sometimes I would drive a snowmobile a few kilometers out of town, shut it down, and just lay down in the snow, looking up at the majesty of it all. The only thing disturbing the silence was the occasional breeze. The northern lights are a common occurrence. It doesn't happen every day, but often enough that they just start getting ignored after a while, as long as they're not too spectacular anyway. On one particular night, without asking my parents, I decided to go out on my snowmobile for a midnight drive out of town. I drove a few kilometers over the hills and found a spot devoid of light pollution. I shut off the machine and settled into a good spot to look up and be retrospective. It wasn't all that interesting of a scene. A few satellites passing here and there, some relatively boring activity affecting the magnetic field. And then I noticed a clicking noise. At first I thought it was the sound of the snow machine cooling down, as engines expand and contract in the cold. But the source of the sound definitely wasn't coming from that direction. My next thought was there must be an animal nearby, in which case I need to get out of there fast. You don't really want to mess with a wild animal. But the clicking sound was far too regular for an animal to produce. It was also a fairly mechanical sound. And again, the source of the sound wasn't coming from anywhere around me, laterally. It was coming from up. So naturally I looked up to determine the origin of the strange sound. I see what I always see. Stars, northern lights, a lazy satellite crossing the sky. All normal stuff. But before I dismiss it altogether and began heading home, I noticed something strange in the northern lights. There were 3 rather strong points of light. I ignored them at first, thinking they were oddly symmetrical stars, but this proved false. They were definitely getting brighter. I kept staring in morbid fascination as they grew stronger and stronger, yet still remaining only single points in the sky. All the while, the clicking noise is getting louder and louder and more pronounced, almost like someone started with a tapping of a pen on a desk to clacking billiard balls together inside my head. And then it stopped. The lights were gone, the clicking was not heard, and aside from a little stiff, cold breeze, and rather petrified, I'm fine. So I jumped back on the snowmobile, thinking maybe I'd gone a little crazy. The machine takes a little longer than usual to start. I'm beginning to worry, but soon it's running and I'm heading back to town. As I'm driving back, several plausible scenarios as to what occurred are running through my head. I'm thinking it could have been a helicopter from the mine, or just some strange northern light behavior. Probably not a big deal. I pull up outside my house. All the lights are off. It's dark. Strange. It wasn't that late when I'd left. I opened the outer door as quietly as possible, removed my winter gear, entered the inner door. The house is quiet. Really quiet. My parents are teachers and are usually up late, marking papers or watching TV. All I'm thinking is I have to get to bed without anyone noticing. This proves easy, as soon as I'm under the covers, I go to set my alarm for the next day, and then suddenly everything makes sense. The engine being hard to start, nobody being awake when I get home. When I was gone for what felt like a relatively short amount of time, it was 11 p.m. when I left. It was now 6 a.m. I stood, staring at the clicking lights, for almost 7 hours. I never ended up sleeping that night, and now I don't go on late-night snow machine rides. I don't know what I saw, I don't know what happened, and I don't know how to account for missing 7 hours of time. Story 3. Snow globes. My mom always bought snow globes for my grandma, and when my grandma passed away, my mom took all the snow globes back to our house. She put them all around the living room, on shelves. A few weeks had passed, and my mom found a video that she wanted my brothers and I to watch, because it reminded her of our grandmother. We all sat down to watch it, and of course, near the end of the movie, our mom is crying. Right when the movie ends, all of the snow globes went off at the same time. The figures inside didn't move, on any of them, just the music started playing. We all huddled together. Of course, we were scared, and my mom suddenly said, "Mom, is that you?" And all of the music stopped, and the room became ice cold. My mom suddenly felt really uncomfortable, and had all of us run and get in the car, and she drove us to our godmother's house. She cried for hours, until she got a call from our dad saying that he'd be home in a few minutes, and we should all head back. When we got back inside the house, it was warm again, but all of the snow globes were shattered on the ground, except for one, the one that was my grandmother's favorite. Thanks for listening. I hope you enjoyed these stories. If you did, don't forget to hit subscribe and give me a thumbs up. Thank you.